Many troops could be seen approaching the city through the crow's eyes. 4 lords led the warriors in the front: Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Cao Cao, and Liu Bei. On the opposite side, Lu Bu trusted 3 troops. A soldier came shortly after, ready to report the situation to Cao Cao. The soldier informed him that the majority of Xiopi City's defenders had been killed, and there was no longer any resistance in the city. The troops protecting the city entrance met a sad end. Cao Cao didn't believe the soldier. The soldier questioned what he meant by saying. Meanwhile, 3 men came and left the city gate. They understood their most fearsome foe was still standing. They were referring to a guy named Lu Bu, who had the title of Fengxian. As he was going to approach the enemy, a woman abruptly shouted out to him. The woman was Dio Chan, and she warned Lu Bu to be careful in his battle. Lu Bu joyfully accepted Dio Chan's gift. Without hesitation, he swallowed the entire bottle of vodka. Lu Bu quickly drank it all and flung the vase on the ground. On the other side, Dio Chan was still apprehensive. Lu Bu reassured her that she did not need to worry about him. Lu Bu declared himself invincible, claiming that he could battle 1,000 men and horses on his own. But one of the nobility seemed unconcerned about his comment. He quickly signaled his warriors to strike. On the other hand, Lu Bu charged at them alone. He frantically swung his enormous weapon. Lu Bu was enraged and showed no compassion as he confronted the troops. With a single stroke of his sword, the troops in front were quickly dispatched. The opponents had no chance to hit Lu Bu. The nobility grinned when he saw what was going on. His soldier said that Lu Bu was particularly brave and inquired what they should do about it. In answer, the noble said that it was only bravado. After a while, all of the opposing soldiers were defeated, and Lu Bu was the last one standing. Suddenly, Lu Bu felt a searing ache in his chest. To his amazement, spears penetrated his center. Despite the discomfort, he attempted to turn around and see who it was. He was surprised to see Song Zian and Wai Zhu, his loyal buddies. Lu Bu couldn't believe it and wanted to find out why they were opposed to him. In response, the 2 traitors said that he was to fault because he was too naive. Lu Bu was in excruciating pain when the 2 guys pulled the spears out. As Lu Bu weakened, Cao Cao grabbed the chance and swiftly ordered his soldiers to defeat him. Lu Bu was on the ground and encircled by the enemies. However, he attempted to rise up. The troops, on the other hand, attempted to take advantage of the chance to assassinate Lu Bu, with a payoff of 10,000 yuan. But Lu Bu persisted and successfully defended himself. He gave the adversaries a murderous glare. He effortlessly defeated the hostile soldiers with his bare fists. The noble laughed and insulted Lu Bu, wondering whether he would continue to labor in vain. In response, Lu Bu stated that he would not give up easy, so the noble informed him that he may continue to resist. Suddenly, Lu Bu's attention was pulled to Dio Chan. He discovered that she was being taken hostage by one of the noble's soldiers. One of the nobility felt taking a lady as a hostage was excessive, but Cao Cao stated it was alright since they needed to do whatever to win. The soldier insisted that Lu Bu down his weapon and surrender. Lu Bu informed them that it was shameful to threaten him with a hostage. Eventually, Lu Bu dropped his weapon. The weapon fell to the ground with enormous force. Lu Bu had little hope of fighting, so Cao Cao ordered his troops to execute him. Without hesitation, the troops dashed for Lu Bu. Lu Bu's body was pierced by spears, but he continued to battle. Dio Chan couldn't take watching Lu Bu struggle any longer, so she attempted to leave. She rushed towards Lu Bu. Meanwhile, Lu Bu couldn't hold on any longer and was gradually sliding to the earth. In his last moments, he still smiled at Dio Chan. Dio Chan sobbed when she saw General Lu Bu on the point of death. As he approached death, he remarked that if there was a hereafter, he would never interact with such individuals. His eyes widened in amazement when he awoke. He sat in amazement, unable to believe what he had dreamt about. He pondered why he was dreaming of his previous life again. The man is Lu Bu in a new body after being revived. Since his death in war, he has entered a new age. There were no battles, bad blood, or flaming swords in that age. Everyone lived a calm and quiet existence, and he was no different. But Lu Bu believed he had been revived into a dull life. Suddenly, a hand extended to seize him. His sister grabbed him by the ears and inquired why he was repeating such discouraging remarks and groaning despite the fact that he was still a young guy. The girl was Lu Bu's younger sister in his new life, Lu Ziachin. Lu Bu informed her that her breakfast was ready and directed her to get it herself. Lu Ziachin quickly grabbed the dish. Lu Bu treated Ziachin as if she were his sister, despite the fact that they were not biologically related. They were orphans who grew up together. Thus he saw her as his only family in that new existence. Ziachin suddenly protested that his cooking was horrible, but Lu Bu couldn't resist thinking that his sister Ziachin resembled Dio Chan in his previous existence. Lu Bu quickly informed Ziachin that he was leaving for school and admonished her to be responsible. Ziachin sheepishly informed Lu Bu that she was no longer a child and that he did not need to remind her. Furthermore, Lu Bu swiftly donned his shoes. Suddenly, Ziachin approached him. Ziachin forcefully shoved him the umbrella and instructed him to bring it since the prediction showed it was going to rain. Lu Bu was taken aback and briefly fixed his gaze on her. He caressed her hair and teased her about how much she cared for him. Lu Bu quickly bid Zai Achin farewell and promised to return with some goodies. In answer, Zai Achin informed him that there should be pudding. Lu Bu walked to the parking lot to get to his vehicle. The sun's beams lighted the city. Lu Bu waited while riding his motorcycle since the traffic signal was still red. Soon, the light turned green. People passed by, and he assumed everything was as tranquil as it had always been. Suddenly, there was a hand ready to slap him. The figure smacked his helmet, surprising him. Lu Bu turned around, offended by the unexpected encounter. He was surprised to see 3 of his classmates. His peers approached him and jokingly inquired why he seemed so serious. The man said he should smile more around them. They said that they had come to care after him since he appeared lonely. They jokingly informed Lu Bu that they were offering him the opportunity to be their buddy, something he should be thankful for. To their amazement, Lu Bu shook off their grasp on his arm. He said that he didn't need pals. When his 3 students saw his reaction, they were terrified. However, his peers continued to criticize him, telling him that he was behaving too high because of his name. His classmates laughed as they went. Meanwhile, Lu Bu reasoned that he didn't need them since they may betray him at any time, just like his loyal comrades had in his previous life. Furthermore, when the light turned green, he opted not to think about them and moved on. He quickly drove his automobile. Lu Bu opted not to deal with them and instead focused on driving. Suddenly, his attention was diverted to the screen. He stopped his car. He had a startling realization that he understood what future generations would think of him. In the new age, he was perceived as both a family slave and a rebel. However, as long as Zai Achin lived, he refused to abandon his new existence. Suddenly, he felt something trickle. As he looked up, he noticed it was pouring. Suddenly, the television said that there was an emergency. The news said that there are several inexplicable space-time fissures around their country, and a big number of monsters are emerging from them. Lu Bu was interested by the news since it was different. He read the notification, which stated that the government recommended people to stay at home to prevent harm. However, Lu Bu assumed that it was a hoax because April Fool's Day was approaching. But he was shocked when something appeared directly in front of his eyes. His eyes widened in amazement, unable to comprehend what he was witnessing. A space-like doorway appeared immediately in front of him, and everyone fled. Suddenly, a weird monster appeared from the gateway. To his amazement, a gigantic creature was reported on the news. The monster was unlike any other creature that wandered the world. It possessed lengthy tentacles implanted with many eyeballs in its body. The tentacles held the people prisoner. As it grasped the people, the creature shouted in wrath. One of Lu Bu's classmates was also apprehended, prompting another to shout for aid. However, the creature grasped his classmate hard, causing him to battle for air. In an instant, his classmate was crushed and killed. Lu Bu was taken aback when his classmate spilled blood on him, but Lu Bu stayed in his post. Meanwhile, the beast towered above him, its proportions tremendous. Lu Bu's emotions were confused as he faced the beast. Suddenly, something in his head kept reminding him of the risk. Meanwhile, the monster was preparing to attack him, and he stayed still. More warnings appeared in his consciousness as the danger approached. Even as the monster prepared to hit Lu Bu, he remained dispassionate. The warnings continued, alerting him to the impending peril ahead. Lu Bu quickly took a firm grasp on the umbrella. Lu Bu was ecstatic at the time because risk was his favorite thing. He harnessed his inner strength and focused it in his arm. As he ran towards the beast, Lu Bu felt a rush of enthusiasm that reminded him of his days as a commander. He penetrated the beast effortlessly. His weapon was the umbrella that his sister had given him. Lu Bu managed to deliver damage to the monster. Lu Bu was excited as he stared at the injured monster. He maneuvered and confronted the creature once more. He then positioned and stabilized his weapon before striking the creature again. Lu Bu quickly cut the beast in half. Soon after, he went to sever all of its tentacles. The monster's tentacles dropped to the earth, one by one. Blood spilled from his umbrella. Finally, the creature was entirely defeated. At that point, Lu Bu concluded that the next generation had finally become fascinating. He suddenly discovered a luminous thing inside the monster's body. He took up the bright item and pondered what it was. He suddenly realized that the thing was adhering to his body. He began to feel uncomfortable as the item gradually penetrated him. As the thing completely entered his body, he felt a weird sensation that caused him to kneel to the ground. Soon, a hologram-like panel appeared in front of him. It was similar to a gaming system, and the system praised him once the binding was completed. Furthermore, the system informed him that the Flying General system had awoken. Lu Bu was still perplexed, wondering what was going on, so the system revealed that the Flying General system had awoken when the world had recovered its spiritual vitality. He was shocked when the system told him that it was a unique awakening power created specifically for him. The system quickly explained that it would assign him levels, characteristics, talents, and equipment. The system revealed to him that his hard effort will enable him become the world's strongest and reclaim the title of Flying General. After hearing this, Lu Bu considered becoming the god of war again. But he unexpectedly embraced it because that was exactly what he had desired from the beginning. He suddenly felt a sinister force behind him. When he turned back, he was shocked by what he saw. The enormous monster revived and summoned its warriors. Without delay, the monster sent its minions to assault. Lu Bu, on the other hand, stayed in his position, waiting for the appropriate moment to strike. He easily chopped them in two, collecting points. As he maintained his unrelenting chase of the creatures, he accumulated points. He suddenly noticed that he was becoming more stronger as he defeated creatures and gained experience points. Meanwhile, more creatures continued appearing. However, he quickly dispatched them with a single stroke of his sword, earning him a lot of experience points. The enormous monster's tentacles suddenly tightened around his feet. The beast hoisted him into the air. Then it tossed him toward a skyscraper. As a consequence, Lu Bu felt weak as he attempted to keep his equilibrium. He rose up despite the monsters in front of him, convinced that if he still possessed his divine weapon from his previous life, he would never lose to them. Furthermore, the system inquired whether he wished to employ the ability fusion. Without hesitation, he told the system that he wanted to. Shortly thereafter, the system began to combine his umbrella and the monster's tentacle to become a weapon. As a consequence of the sophisticated weapon, Lu Bu was able to quickly destroy all of the creatures in front of him. He went through them with his long spear. Finally, he defeated the beasts again since the casting was successful. As he examined his weapon, he concluded that the heavenly halberd was most suited to his combat style. Suddenly, he spotted another gateway opening. Little did he realize that the monster's flesh was regenerating. It continued to renew and join together. To his amazement, he sensed that all of the creatures were combining into one. As he turned around, he saw the creature was coming to grab him. Something unexpectedly went through his body. The unique assault quickly defeated the beasts and prevented them from regenerating. As the unusual bright light came, the monster's flesh dispersed and vanished. Lu Bu was astonished and unprepared for such an onslaught. His eyes widened in amazement as he attempted to determine where the attack had come from. A guy approached him, explaining him that the beasts were special mutants powered by the crystal within them. Meanwhile, Lu Bu remained awestruck at the look of the individual. Suddenly, the individual swung their weapon, aiming for the monster's center. She retrieved the crystal from the monster's body and informed Lu Bu that in order to eliminate the monsters, he must destroy the crystal. The lady wasted little time smashing the crystal. Lu Bu quickly inquired about the woman's identity. The woman advised Lu Bu to focus on his current position rather than obsessing about her identity. Lu Bu then recognized that the beast was regenerating once more. Once more, the creature returned to its former shape. Lu Bu was nervous as he realized the beasts appeared invincible. Despite this, he vowed to continue battling, now conscious of his flaws. With unshakable determination, he charged toward the beast. However, the woman informed him that she would see how he defeated his rival. Lu Bu effortlessly delivered damage on the beast and targeted its crucial location. Despite this, the monster's flesh continued to move after it was sliced. The monster surged for Lu Bu with its tentacles, but he escaped every strike. Lu Bu evaded every tentacle that came at him. However, he realized that the tentacles were becoming larger, making it more difficult for him to avoid them. Suddenly, the system emerged and asked if he wanted to use the aggressive skill spirit associated with the heavenly halberd. When he saw this, Lu Bu had a sudden inspiration. He grinned as he considered this. When he consented to utilize it, the system triggered the talent, Violent Spirit Possession, which immediately changed his look. At that point, Lu Bu felt his body lighten, making it easier to avoid the tentacles. He sprang into the air, intending to strike the monster's skull. As he reached the summit, he declared the combat finished. He used his expertise to fight the creature, which he effectively defeated. As the monster shattered, the crystal appeared, which Lu Bu quickly smashed. As a consequence, the monster was ultimately vanquished. Shortly later, the system awarded him with 1,000 experience points, advancing him to level 2. Lu Bu landed with ease, having finally defeated the beast. Suddenly, he observed the woman approaching him. The woman praised him, saying his abilities were amazing. The woman welcomed him, then introduced herself as Chen Gong from the National Bureau of Esper Affairs. Shortly later, a number of individuals appeared at the scene. The people soon informed Chen Gong that Abyss number 19 had been effectively sealed. Chen Gong responded by commending them for their efforts. However, the guy stated that despite closing it, they had not discovered any evidence of the Abyss monster boss throughout their studies. But Chen Gong told them that they didn't have to worry about it. She pointed to Lu Bu and told her team that he had taken care of it. Lu Bu abruptly interrupted their chat, surprising them. Lu Bu immediately questioned about their organization, as he had never heard of such an organization in China before. Chen Gong saw Lu Bu's curiosity and invited him to join them to learn more about their organization. However, Chen Gong's gang unexpectedly challenged her, questioning why she was backing someone of unknown provenance. After hearing this, Lu Bu concluded that people did not trust him. Chen Gong, on the other hand, supported him, claiming that Lu Bu was able to kill an elite-level monster in a non-awoke state, and that he did not rely on external forces but rather awakened his own talents later on. When her group mates learned this, they were stunned and couldn't believe he had such luck. Meanwhile, Lu Bu couldn't believe the system had given him such immense power. Furthermore, Chen Gong informed him that he was fortunate to have developed such an aptitude. She then requested if she may test his talent if he didn't mind, since she was still unsure of its level or capabilities. Lu Bu accepted and began to grasp her hand. Chen Gong responded by thanking him for his faith in her. She quickly drew out a green gemstone. She continued to grasp Lu Bu's hand and carefully put the green crystal. Soon, the process of determining Lu Bu's level and talents began. Chen Gong and the rest of his colleagues were stunned by the outcome. The green crystal showed Lu Bu's fusion talent. When Lu Bu saw this, he immediately asked Chen Gong what type of ability fusion was and how strong it was. So Chen Gong's staff revealed to him that it was only a lousy auxiliary skill, barely reaching sea level. They stated that, unlike his ability, theirs had fighting capabilities, prompting them to insult him. Chen Gong abruptly told them to stop talking. Her teammates were immediately scared and stopped laughing. Meanwhile, Lu Bu was perplexed as to why the green crystal indicated that his talent was fusion while the system informed him that it was the Flying General system. So the system revealed to him that it gave him with special talents, and that outsiders could not identify the full level of the host's capabilities. Chen Gong quickly caught Lu Bu's interest. However, she tried to find phrases that would not upset him. She eventually inquired whether he was still interested in joining her team at the National Bureau of Esper Affairs, despite the fact that he was a sea-level officer, which made Lu Bu feel mocked. Then Lu Bu informed her that he was not very interested in joining her squad. When Chen Gong's team learned about this, they immediately approached Lu Bu. They said he was ungrateful for daring to reject their leader, despite the fact that they were an excellent squad. Chen Gong abruptly halted him as he was about to keel over. Chen Gong abruptly stopped him from leaving. She wondered if he didn't want to be protected by the organization in such a tumultuous environment. She went on to question why he rejected down her offer, so Lu Bu turned back and decided to give her the explanation. Chen Gong's teammates couldn't believe he was that arrogant. Meanwhile, Lu Bu argued that a man should not be satisfied with living under the roof of others and rather strive to build his own position in the world. After hearing this, Chen Gong's associates felt enraged by Lu Bu's arrogant behavior. In response, her colleagues were ready to give Lu Bu a taste of his own medicine. Jiang Zhu urged Chen Gong not to worry, vowing to guarantee Lu Bu's dying moments were upon him. As he charged toward Lu Bu, he used his B-level ability, Volcano Armor. As he raced at him, he proclaimed that Lu Bu would face the consequences for his hubris. However, Lu Bu remained unconcerned and kept his position, waiting for the impending onslaught. Jiang Zhu was taken aback as Lu Bu dodged his blow. To his amazement, Lu Bu's weapon was poised to hit his neck. However, Lu Bu abruptly paused and told him not to antagonize him again. He vowed that if Jiang Zhu tried to provoke him again, he would suffer the consequences and die. Jiang Zhu slumped to the ground, his knees weakening from terror in the presence of Lu Bu's strong aura. Meanwhile, Chen Gong could only watch Lu Bu continue to walk away. She suddenly gathered her confidence and decided to approach Lu Bu. She flung a card at him, declaring that it was intended for him. Lu Bu eagerly accepted the card. As he glanced at it, he noticed it was Chen Gong's business card, causing him to halt and consider. She advised him to call her if he ever needed assistance, to which Lu Bu replied that he did not require assistance from anyone. However, Chen Gong said that even if Lu Bu did not believe it was necessary, the National Security Bureau must safeguard the safety of the team's families. Lu Bu suddenly thought about his sister and knew she may be in danger. So, he dashed towards his motorcycle. He swiftly rode his motorcycle and accelerated away. Chen Gong and her colleagues gazed at Lu Bu in silence as he departed. Chen Gong's teammate was upset that Lu Bu didn't even say goodbye, and he regretted not teaching him a lesson. Meanwhile, Chen Gong considered the prospect of Lu Bu joining her squad eventually. Furthermore, Lu Bu was driving carelessly, disregarding other automobiles and pedestrians on the road. He thought about his sister and hoped she was not in trouble. Suddenly, another abyss portal emerged on the route. Monsters began to emerge from the abyss portal, spreading terror. Lu Bu grew agitated, believing that the monsters were obstructing the route. So he instantly took out his sword and prepared to slay the demons in his way. He quickly poured his talent into the blade and merged with it. In a single swipe, he neatly chopped the beast in half. He proceeded to march along the road, meticulously destroying the creatures and removing them from his way. He annihilated them with one stroke, clearing his route along the road. Suddenly, a creature attacked his car. As a result, he slid from his motorcycle and crashed to the ground. Lu Bu became agitated as he gazed at the oncoming beasts. The creatures were skeletal troops on demonic horses. Furthermore, Lu Bu decided to see if he could make the same thing happen while he stared at his motorcycle. He touched his motorbike as the beasts advanced swiftly. He triggered his fusion ability by utilizing the motorbike. As a consequence, his motorcycle turned into a live bike horse. The system informed him that it was named the Extreme Red Hair Horse. Lu Bu quickly jumped onto his horse and felt a familiar sensation. He passed past countless creatures, defeating them on his new ride. The people were astounded by what he did, considering him a god of battle for destroying all the creatures. He eventually made it to his flat. He continued riding the horse as he climbed upstairs. Then he discovered there were no monsters nearby, which he considered a good thing. He quickly opened the door to his flat. He yelled, begging for his sister and wondering whether she was okay. Zai Achan approached him shortly after hearing his voice. She rubbed her eyes, having fallen asleep earlier, and questioned why he was returning, assuming he had gone to school. Her brother suddenly hugged her, which astonished her. Lu Bu was relieved and praised God that she was okay. Meanwhile, Zai Achan suspected that he was going insane again. Zai Achan suddenly observed something peculiar about Lu Bu's clothing. She inquired why there was so much blood on his clothes and what had occurred. So Lu Bu grabbed her wrist and explained that monsters had suddenly appeared in their nation, and they needed to go immediately. However, Zai Achan behaved oddly. To his amazement, something stabbed him from behind. As he turned around, he seen a gigantic creature emerge. To his amazement, his sister Zai Achan had become a monster. The creature retracted one of its tentacles, causing a substantial amount of blood to stream from Lu Bu. Lu Bu felt excruciating pain when the tentacle was yanked out. He quickly swung around and questioned about the monster's identity. Meanwhile, the monster lapped Lu Bu's blood off its tentacles. The beast then grasped its chest. It imitated Zai Achan and mocked Lu Bu's remembrance of his sister. Meanwhile, despite losing a lot of blood, Lu Bu tried to get up. He attempted to halt the bleeding by sealing his chest with metal. While sealing his wound with metal, the monster questioned him whether he no longer felt agony. Lu Bu rushed at the beast, striking his sword at it. But the monster effortlessly avoided it. The monster addressed him as a brother and encouraged him not to use his weapon to harm others. However, Lu Bu remained calm and told the monster to stop its games. As he tried to strike the creature, he begged it to tell the location of his sister. The creature managed to deflect one of his blows, which shocked him. Lu Bu paused, expecting the creature to reveal his sister's whereabouts. The monster then showed that his sister and everyone in the building were within its guts. After hearing this, Lu Bu urged the monster to explain its remark. So, the monster tried to explain it plainly. The monster maliciously informed Lu Bu that it had already eaten his sister. When Lu Bu heard this, his mood changed. He quickly called his red hair. He mounted it without hesitation. Then he charged toward the beast, hoping to strike a key location and smash the crystal within its body. Lu Bu effectively cut the beast in half. However, it survived because its crystal had not been damaged. Suddenly, Lu Bu observed the monster's body growing, revealing all of the humans it had taken. The monster informed Lu Bu that those who misbehave will be punished. Seeing this, Lu Bu told the monster it was horrible. Then he began to attack the creature, demanding that it spit out his sister. However, the monster's flesh continued to regenerate. Suddenly, the monster's flesh constricted. It immediately detonated, taking Lu Bu by surprise. However, the monster's flesh gradually regenerated in one location. Then it showed the monster's face, which resembled Zai Achan. Furthermore, the monster informed Lu Bu that he was very strong. It said that Lu Bu's power made it want to eat him. Meanwhile, Lu Bu recalled what Chen Gong had said. He needed to smash the crystal within the monster's body to beat it. Suddenly, the system informed him that his mana was inadequate to activate the violent spirit profession talent. To his amazement, the creature was now beside him, questioning how he could be distracted when it was speaking to him. The beast quickly sought to consume him. However, Lu Bu had a strategy and opted not to struggle. Shortly later, the monster ate him. As the monster devoured him, it felt content and strong. However, the creature detected something sprouting from its flesh. To its amazement, Lu Bu emerged from its flesh and escaped. As Lu Bu fled, he laughed at the beast and mocked it, boasting that he had finally captured it. Lu Bu astonished the beast when he showed it the crystal. The monster insisted that Lu Bu not destroy it, but Lu Bu ruthlessly shattered the crystal. As a result, the monster gradually shriveled away. Furthermore, the body containing the people burst. It erupted, revealing a large number of captive persons. Shortly later, the folks regained consciousness and wondered how they had gotten there. Their brains throbbed as they reflected on what had transpired, recognizing they had been swallowed by a monster. Furthermore, Lu Bu finally got to see his sister. Zai Achan awoke and was shocked to see her brother. When Zai Achan saw him, tears welled up in her eyes. She sobbed and hugged her brother, relieved she wouldn't see him again. Suddenly, the system congratulated Lu Bu on completing level 3. As a reward, the system granted him 3 attribute points. The system instantly inquired if he wanted to utilize them. However, Lu Bu felt that now was not the time to ponder about it and swiftly informed Zai Achan that they needed to go to find a secure spot. But Zai Achan questioned whether there was a safe location. Lu Bu nodded, believing that she was correct, as there was nothing safe in their world right now. Furthermore, individuals in the city were fleeing and rushing to leave. Several military sky vehicles emerged in the skies. The crowd came to a halt when an announcement was made that mysterious monsters from another world had emerged and were creating mayhem. The authorities said that Dong's organization was worried about residents' safety, so it had set up safety camps in numerous cities, encouraging people to take refuge. Hearing that there was a safety camp made the residents feel hopeful. Zai Achan and Lu Bu overheard the announcement and noticed how many people wanted to get there. So, Zai Achan proposed to Lu Bu that they seek sanctuary in the safety camp. On the other side, Lu Bu was thinking about the described Dong gang, which seemed familiar. Drones encircled the Dong Corporation facility. Many people lined up after learning that the Dong group was giving shelter at a refugee camp. A gentleman was holding a wine glass. The person carrying the wine glass was the head of Dong Corporation. Chairman Dongju grinned, realizing that their method was working well. Shortly thereafter, he sent his soldiers to descend and observe the migrants, expecting potential unrest. In answer, his soldiers expressed understanding and swiftly carried out his commands. Additionally, this man departed the room and proceeded downstairs, escorted by a large number of ladies. Suddenly, the woman observed something strange about Johnson. His eyes sparkled with an unpleasant intensity, evocative of a terrible presence. To the woman's surprise, Dongju reached out and firmly stroked her head. Dongju suddenly began sucking the life force from the two ladies, causing a burst of strong energy within him. Meanwhile, as he waited in line, Lu Bu saw something strange. His sister, Zai Achen, promptly inquired as to what was bothering him, and he simply stated that he got a horrible feeling. Furthermore, Zai Achen wanted to share something with Lu Bu. She wondered whether they were drawing too much attention by riding the red hair horse while waiting in line. Furthermore, Zai Achen became inquisitive and asked Lu Bu how he became so powerful and obtained such a beautiful horse. So Lu Bu stated that once someone's spiritual energy was restored, their hidden powers may emerge, allowing them to grow stronger, something he felt Zai Achen could also experience. However, Zai Achen revealed to him that she still enjoyed being protected by him. Lu Bu secretly wanted to convey to Zai Achen that he was the one who awakened the system itself. Only 3 elements in the system stood out to him as worthy of inclusion. The 3 categories were strength, agility, and intellect. Lu Bu decided to dedicate all of his points to his strength attribute. Suddenly, he felt a burst of energy surging through him, which surprised him. Feeling his strength increase, he marveled at the system's remarkable powers. As he analyzed the system, he discovered that just the fusion skill was unlocked. As a result, he concluded that his level needed to be greater in order to access the other traits. Furthermore, Zai Achen told him that it was about their turn to enter the building. Zai Achen told Lu Bu that she hoped the safe area would not be as busy as the stores in Dadong. Suddenly, Lu Bu's eyes widened as he watched many guys emerge from the building. A guy confronted him and told him to dismount his horse so they could enter. Lu Bu immediately agreed to the man's demand. Soon later, he and Zai Achen entered the building. When they came in, they were shocked to discover something massive in the lobby. There was a big statue of the Dong Group's owner, Dongju. Lu Bu felt uneasy and believed that constructing a monument of Dongju himself in the structure was excessive. A woman arrived shortly after and called their attention. She introduced herself as the Dong Corporation's business manager and said that she would be accompanying them to the shelter. Zai Achen said, "I understand," and Lu Bu followed suit. Lu Bu and Zai Achen followed the woman as she explained that all of their refuge camps were created in an apartment format to provide people with a nice and private place. Furthermore, the woman included something. She showed them that there was a public gym and swimming pool nearby so they could work out in their leisure time. However, Lu Bu still had a nagging suspicion that something was awry. Furthermore, the woman added that the Dong Corporation operated a 24-hour entertainment business center. The amusement center was manned by women who helped males. Furthermore, she said that the Dong Corporation has unrivaled power to safeguard its people. After hearing and seeing all of the comforts inside, Zai Achen pushed Lu Bu to stay at the refuge camp since it appeared better than their house. So the woman presented a contract and asked them to sign it if they decided to stay. They were startled, however, when the woman revealed that the fee was $980,000 per night, which they considered to be excessive. However, the woman assured them that everything was okay since they had a backup plan in case their financial resources were insufficient. The woman's tone irritated Lu Bu and Zai Achen. The lady grabbed Zai Achen's chin and told her that Chairman Dongju liked lovely ladies, and that they could provide her an apartment if she wanted to join their firm. Lu Bu quickly moved the woman's hands away from Zai Achen. Lu Bu notified the woman that they no longer wanted to stay at the location. However, the woman advised them that they couldn't just leave the premises anytime they wanted. Suddenly, the woman instructed her men to remove Zai Achen and dispose of Lu Bu. The lady said that the 3 guardians were espers who had woken before the spiritual energy was restored. Lu Bu positioned himself in front of Zai Achen as the 3 guys prepared to charge at them. He kept his ground, remained in his place, and waited for the soldiers to attack. He used his bare hands to shove the man's head. He shoved the man's head, colliding with the other 2 men. All 3 espers were quickly knocked to the ground. Lu Bu told the woman he didn't believe in fate. Therefore, her words didn't disturb him. The woman was startled since she didn't anticipate Lu Bu to defeat the 3 men. Soon after, Lu Bu used his weapon. He proceeded gently towards the woman, telling her that he despised individuals who had condescending attitudes. He emphasized that persons of lower standing should never be looked down upon. The woman screamed in terror as Lu Bu prepared to attack her. However, another weapon blocked his weapon's advancement. A man called Lu Bu a child. He informed him that the Dong Corporation discourages troublemakers. The man's weapon attempted to knock Lu Bu's weapon away. Lu Bu successfully avoided the man's onslaught. He quickly put distance between himself and the man, using his weapon as a shield. However, he observed the man had managed to leave a scar on him, which led him to assume the man was not to be taken lightly. So he instantly asked the man about his identification. In answer, The guy identified himself as Zhao Liao, director of Dongju Corporation's private arm department. Lu Bu sarcastically commended his name but expressed regret that he had become a servant for such a firm. However, Zhao Liao charged forward, urging Lu Bu not to offend his superior. The man's weapon was tremendous. Lu Bu could feel its overwhelming force. To his amazement, Zhao was able to shove him back, so he considered that his opponent's power was very formidable. Suddenly, he observed Zhao standing in front of him, ready to attack, but he was able to intercept it with his own weapon. Meanwhile, Zhao was amazed that Lu Bu could compete with his sophisticated fighting abilities, especially since Lu Bu just possessed an auxiliary talent. But he told Lu Bu that his luck would run out there. Suddenly, Lu Bu realized Zhao was preparing to kick him, so he intercepted the kick once more with his weapon. The force was so powerful that Lu Bu coughed up blood. He instantly withdrew himself from Zhao, realizing he was in a bad situation. Lu Bu's condition worsened as he lost a large amount of blood. Zhao criticized Lu Bu for daring to fight against the Dong Corporation despite being severely injured. But Lu Bu was undeterred. He stated that his wounds would not prevent him from continuing to vanquish them. Suddenly, the woman stepped in and attracted Lu Bu's attention. The lady imprisoned Zai Achin and threatened to murder her if Lu Bu continued to fight. Lu Bu became enraged when he saw this. Zhao gently stepped by Lu Bu and reached the woman. To his astonishment, Zhao smacked the woman. As a consequence, the woman relaxed her grasp on Zai Achin. Zai Achin instantly approached her brother, and Lu Bu assured her that everything was all right. Meanwhile, the woman protested to Zhao Liao about why he didn't murder the girl. Zhao responded, telling her that they were business people, not robbers. So all the woman could do was wail in frustration. She dashed away, telling Zhao that she would inform Chairman Dong about what had happened. Zhao then turned to Lu Bu and commended his combat ability, to which Lu Bu remarked that in that age, strength was ultimately determined by one's own talents. Lu Bu was astonished since he did not expect such statements from Zhao. Zhao gently walked away, telling Lu Bu not to overestimate himself in the future and that if he made any problem again, no one could guarantee his safety. Furthermore, Lu Bu reacted to him, addressing him by name. He said he would remember Zhao's name. Furthermore, Zai Achin pushed Lu Bu to depart immediately. Lu Bu and Zai Achin immediately exited the building. Lu Bu suddenly felt great discomfort, which worried Zai Achin. She sobbed and asked him why he hadn't told her he was seriously hurt. But Lu Bu couldn't force himself to tell her he was hurt while saving her, so he convinced her not to worry, saying that it was only a flesh wound and would not harm him. However, Zai Achin persisted and persuaded Lu Bu to go to the hospital. However, Lu Bu stated that it was ineffective since hospitals were overcrowded and there was no means to obtain care. Lu Bu suddenly began to feel terrible. Suddenly, he pulled out a card and told Zai Achin to call the number on it. When Zai Achin saw this, he was astonished. Zai Achin noticed that her brother's position was deteriorating. Before losing consciousness, he assured Zai Achin that his survival was solely dependent on the person she would contact.